Masterpiece is a word that really has a lot of impact when used, and that's a good thing, because it gives the word a lot more meaning. But is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild a masterpiece? Hey everybody, I'm Rainbow Road Gaming, and today we're gonna figure this out. So I definitely know my way around Hyrule, which means I'm clearly qualified to make a decision such as this. I mean, the game has only been out for like a year, and I've already played it for over 175 hours. Wait a second, is that unhealthy? Yeah, I have way too much free time. Now I know I could wait till the end of the video and keep you in suspense to answer the question, but I'm just gonna answer it right now. And the answer is yes. Breath of the Wild is a masterpiece, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, at the very beginning of Breath of the Wild, it starts out with a beginning better than any other video game I've ever played. You start out in the Shrine of Resurrection, which is not very special and is pretty dark overall, but it's dark for a reason. The Shrine of Resurrection teaches you some of the most basic mechanics, walking, opening chests, and climbing, but this is all building up to the big reveal as you exit the cave that shows you what this game is going to be about. The contrast from the dark cave to the bright and beautiful outside world is truly amazing. And the cutscene that follows as a camera pans over the expansive world before you is one of the best moments I've ever experienced in a video game. And once that cutscene is over, the player can do whatever they want. They can follow the path and talk to the old man, they can climb the hill behind them, or if they're like me and are practicing their fall off a cliff and die speedrun, they can just run straight off the cliff. And yes, fall off a cliff and die speedruns are a thing. But if you do decide to go talk to the old man, which I'm pretty sure most people do, you'll get a little more information, and you'll eventually figure out that the Great Plateau is a tutorial segment, and you can't leave it before you learn about the main mechanics of the game. But that's not to say it's a bad section, because it is in fact one of the best sections in the game. It teaches you things in amazing ways and leads you into the game in a stunning fashion. The next thing you're probably going to do is make your way to the first tower, but it's placed in such a way where you need to fight enemies to get to it, thus teaching you some basic fighting tips at the same time. Once you get to the tower, you'll be treated with another amazing cutscene showing all of the places you can journey to in the future. And then you're kinda stuck on top of the tower and need to figure out how to get down. You could be like a logical person and try to climb down, or you could be like most people and just jump off and die. I mean, come on, I'm pretty sure most people died on the tower anyway. At this point, you'll be introduced to the shrines. Shrines are miniature versions of the dungeons that players know so well from other Zelda games. Shrines are one of the best part of the entire game, because they allowed the developers to do new and unique things with the awesome physics engine for this game. The kinds of things you probably would never be able to do out in the real world. Shrines also provide many different kinds of challenges as well. Sometimes it'll be using your paraglider in a new way, or using your runes to navigate challenges, and sometimes it'll even be a difficult combat challenge. And the fact that there are 120 in the game is just mind-blowing. Another thing that Breath of the Wild does to separate itself from other Zelda games is the fact that you don't have a companion or helper entity that helps you along the way. It's nice not to be bothered by an annoying fairy or whatever the heck Fee was supposed to be. Just an old man breathing down your neck. The placement of the shrines in the Great Plateau are also great. They're placed in such a way that you need to learn new things to reach them and continue building off of concepts you have already learned. One of the main things you're learning on the Great Plateau is how to fight monsters. And this is so important because of how much more difficult they're going to become as you progress on your journey. Fighting more enemies at the beginning means that you'll get more weapons from the monsters that you killed, and this allows you to experiment and learn the best battle strategies with those weapons. However, at the beginning of the game, fighting will be more difficult due to the lack of health you start with. Because of how often you'll be losing your health, that'll make the player learn how to cook and collect food more efficiently. Cooking is a part of the game that I haven't even mentioned yet. I think the idea of implementing cooking into the game is genius. Not only is it fun to experiment with cooking the different kinds of food you've acquired, Once you start to learn what each item does, you can use it to your advantage and prepare food before a battle. Once you have completed all 4 shrines, you can receive the paraglider and leave the Great Plateau. And this is where the game really begins. Once you leave the Great Plateau, you really start to understand how big the world really is. I mean, I've played the game for over 175 hours and there are still places I haven't been to. At this point, you're supposed to be going to Kakariko Village, but you can really go anywhere you want. You can even go straight to the final boss if you want to, but I don't recommend that, because then you won't be able to enjoy this amazing world. As you make your way towards Kakariko Village though, you'll find that it's very difficult to stay focused on just one task. But even the parts of the game that may only be a distraction are designed incredibly well. For example, look, those 2 people are being attacked by bokoblins. I'm gonna go save them. But then after that, you may notice a campfire in the distance and go investigate that before going back onto the main path. Or sometimes, a task that may seem simple and easy might have more to it than you originally thought. Like, hey, I should go activate that tower, but wait, it's on the other side of the river. But oh look, I can use these rocks to make it to the other side. But oh no, there are monsters guarding the other side of the rock bridge by the tower. And have I mentioned how good the combat is in this game? It's more than just spamming buttons. It's simply genius because of how many different ways you can approach each battle. You could go right in, but then each monster will be able to attack you right away, or you could stay back and use your bow to pick them off one by one. Or you could even use stasis, magnesis, or bombs to your advantage. Now seems like a good time to bring up an aspect of the game that not so many people like though. That being that weapons can break very easily. Many people don't like this because of how often you have to switch weapons mid-battle because your weapon broke or it's just not strong enough to beat your enemy. But this isn't a bad thing, because if weapons didn't break, then if you were just able to get one really good weapon, then you could potentially use only that weapon for the rest of the game. And the fact that weapons break just means that you always need to be exploring and finding new weapons once you break your old ones. And it also makes the player think more about what weapon they will use in each battle. My main point here is that fighting has a lot of strategy to it, whether it be switching weapons before you start fighting, or eating a lot of food to get your health back in the middle of a battle. Trust me, you'll be eating so many apples mid-battle that you'll never have to see a doctor again. Back to the main quest though. As you continue heading to Kakariko, you will find so many cool things. One of the coolest in my opinion are the stables. Stables are scattered throughout the world in a way that makes the player feel really good and safe whenever they find one after a long journey. And this brings me into my next topic. With a world so large, you would think it would be boring to travel around, right? But because of all the cool ways you can travel around, and how amazing the landscape is around you, traveling is one of the best parts of the entire game. You can walk, ride a horse, paraglide, or even shield surf down a hill if you want to. The game is designed in such a way that you try many of these out in the very beginning. Eventually, you will get to Kakariko, however, and this is where you are introduced to your main goals and objectives for the entire game. These include freeing the 4 divine beasts, which act as the main dungeons in the game, regaining all of Link's lost memories, and finding the Master Sword. And these are all very fun to do, and they give you incentive to explore the vast world around you. But at this point in your journey, you may think you have done a lot, but if you just take a look at your map, it's unbelievable how much more there is to discover. But when you really look at it, the genius of Breath of the Wild doesn't come from the plot or the characters. What it really comes down to are the little things that fill up the massive world. And in my opinion, the best part of Breath of the Wild is how you can go to the same place so many times, and each time you may discover something new, or be able to do something you weren't able to do the last time you were there. For example, you're not going to be able to climb the dueling peaks the first time you go there, but if you come back later with more stamina, you can climb it and discover the 2 shrines on top, or how at the beginning of the game there's no way you can beat a guardian, but as you gain more health and weapons, you'll eventually be able to take them down like it's nothing. Actually, I changed my mind. The best part of Breath of the Wild is that there's just so much to do. With over 120 shrines, nearly 100 side quests, and an impressive 900 Korok seeds, it's no surprise that a full 100% speedrun takes up to 50 hours. Wait, no. My favorite part of Breath of the Wild is how you can go literally anywhere. See that mountain? You can go there. You see that mountain? You can go there. You see that mountain? You can... Oh, wait a second. I guess you can't go there. Bad game, 3.7 out of 10. Okay, I guess you can't choose what part of Breath of the Wild is the best, but that's because of how many great parts it has, and that is what makes Breath of the Wild a masterpiece. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.